Okay. Uh, Yesterday we have seen using pipeline how you can connect multiple commands together and how you can export the output of your commands to different formats like CSV, XML, JSON, HTML and all, and you can import it back from few of these formats, not all. So once you export something to HTML format, you cannot easily import it back, though it is difficult, but it is not impossible to import. So we are not going to get into the details about how to import it from HTML because it's a complicated process and it's not covered under the list of topics that we have. Anybody has any requirements, I can assist them with dealing with the HTML tables, how to import those tables in PowerShell. So today we are going to discuss about the pipeline, how it works internally. So as part of that, first we will try to understand the importance of confirm and what if parameters, how these parameters can help us to connect multiple commands together. Then we will discuss how data flows in the pipeline using three different plans, plan A, B and C. And this is the preference. This is the first preference, this is the second preference, and if these two things does not work, PowerShell will try to connect two commands by plan C, by using plan C. Then we will talk about how you can use parenthetical commands, and while using parenthetical commands you have to understand how to extract the value from a single property. When you are running a command, you will see multiple properties by default which are showing their values. So how to get values from one single property instead of looking at all the properties, and why it is required, we'll discuss about that. So to begin with, let's discuss what is the meaning of confirm and what if parameters. Now let me show you one example like get hyphen process. um, Suppose if I start multiple processes called notepad, I am starting multiple instances of notepad. So I have three instances of notepad process running in the background. Now when I run this command get process notepad, it will show me all the instances of this application, and you can see these are having different IDs like CPU, working set, page memory. These are the things which are almost same, which are consumed by this process. Now if I want to kill this process, there is a command called stop process. Now the stop process commandlet requires an input where you can either specify name or ID if you want to kill one particular process. Suppose I want to kill the process where the process ID is 16640. So out of these three notepad instances, one of the instance will get killed. But here when I'm specifying stop process, I'm also specifying the ID of the process which need to be stopped. Now I will open one more instance. Now this time suppose I want to kill all these processes. So what I can do, stop process, and instead of ID I can use notepad. So all the notepad processes, sorry, I have to change it to name. because we are calling it by name. All the notepad processes are killed. But here also I need to specify which process I want to kill. But when I have, again let me start multiple processes of notepad. Now when I run this command get process notepad, what if I want to kill this using a pipeline? So I can simply redirect the output of this command to stop process. Now notice here I don't need to specify which processes I need to stop. So where this command stop process is getting the details about which processes need to be stopped, it will get the details from the result of this command. So what is the result of this command? The result of this command is three process objects. These three process objects will be passed as input to the stop process commandlet, and stop process commandlet will be able to successfully kill those process objects without even specifying which processes need to be stopped by their name or their ID. Got it? So this is how you can connect commands in the pipeline, and when you are connecting commands in the pipeline, you are saving your time and you don't need to specify the details, because the output of one command can be taken as input by the next command. Okay, so we have seen about get process. Now what if, let me start the notepad process again. What will happen if I use stop service instead of process? So I'm getting the details of a process, I'm trying to stop a service. What do you think will happen? You will get error. It will say there is no service called notepad. So how this stop service commandlet understood that notepad service need to be killed, need to be stopped, because it is reading the name property of get process command. So when you look at the output of get process using get member, if you analyze the output and look at the member type as properties, you will find there is a property called name. Here it is. Now what PowerShell is trying to do here is, stop process has a parameter called name. It is trying to pass the value of this name property to the name parameter, and it is trying to stop the service based on the process which is failing. But let me show you another example where we will now discuss about what if and confirm. So far I have just prepared the background or the base for our discussion for confirm and what if support. Now think about this. Get process it is giving me so many processes. What if I pipe it to stop hyphen process? What do you think will happen? Can anyone answer? Yeah, exactly. It will try to kill every single process running on this computer. So there might be few processes which it will be able to kill. There might be few processes which are critical, it will get some error, but your system will definitely become unstable. And even the Skype session which is currently going on for us, that session will also get disconnected, right? So when you are not sure what will happen if I run this command, you should use hyphen what if. This is a safe way to understand what will happen if I run this command. This parameter what if is available with every single PowerShell commandlet which is capable of making changes to your computer. So stop process can change your computer, right? It can make changes to your computer by killing the processes. This is not a read-only command like get process. Get process is just a read-only command which will just read the output or read the current status. Whereas stop process, this is called intrusive. The commands which are changing something on your computer, those are called intrusive commands. The commands which will just read the configuration, those are non-intrusive commands. So every intrusive command will have this parameter called what if. We are talking about the built-in PowerShell commands or the commands which are provided by the vendors. We are not talking about the commands which we have developed. If you are developing such command, you have to take care of including the support for what if. So when I run this, no process is killed, but it is telling me what would have happened if I would have ran this command on this computer. All these processes would have been killed or would have been stopped. Any questions? Okay, so let me show you. So let's start two different processes with two different names. Now if you want to kill it, you can use get process hyphen name notepad comma ms paint and then pipe it to stop process. You can give comma separated names of the processes you want to kill. Did I answer question? So you can put it in a text file and you can read the values from the text file. We will see how to do that at the end of this topic when we will discuss about parenthetical commands.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, so similar to this is confirm. Now let me open multiple MS Paint processes. So I have three instances of MS Paint. Now when I use get hyphen process, name is the positional parameter. I can directly give the name of the process MS Paint. And if I pipe it to stop hyphen process and I will use what if just to understand what it is going to do with this. It will try to stop these three processes, right? This is how what if works. Now confirm. Confirm will not take action on all the objects at once. It will confirm with you for every single object. What do you want to do with that object? Like in this case, it will give you this option. Are you sure you want to perform this action? If you say yes, it will be yes only for one object. If you say no, it is no only for the current object. If you say yes to all, it is as good as not using this confirm. It will kill all the processes where the name is mspend. If you say no to all, it will exit the command without doing anything. And when you say suspend, suppose I have killed one process, and for before proceeding with the next process, if I click suspend, it will give me some time, or it will allow me to run some commands and check the status of whatever you want to check before proceeding with the next command. So suppose I want to check now, again get process mspend. I want to check which all processes are killed, which are still there. I can run some commands, then I can continue. For continuing, I can say exit, then it will move to the next one again. So now if I say yes to all, it will kill all remaining processes where the name is mspend. Any questions about confirm? Okay. Let's move to the next topic, that is how data flows in the pipeline. Now, in order to understand how data flows in the pipeline, we'll first see one example, which is the example for plan A by data type. Now please pay attention. Get hyphen service. I will give name of 3 services: WinRM, bits, and W3SVC. These are the 3 services. W3SVC is not there because I think I don't have IIS installed on this machine. It will be part of IIS installation, so I will get rid of W3SVC. We will check only these 2 services. Now, as we have discussed earlier, what if I want to restart these 2 services? Assuming that these services are, let's first start these services. In order to start the service, you can simply use start service, and when you do that, it will not show you any output. You have to again go back and run get service to see the updated results. But what if you want to see the results immediately after starting or stopping the service? Stop hyphen service. Suppose I am stopping the service, and after stopping it will be similar, no results will be shown on the screen, because this commandlet start service or stop service, this commandlet is not like get service which will show you the status of the services. This commandlet is meant for starting the service, not showing the output of the command. This is just meant for starting the service. Similarly, this commandlet is available only for stopping the service, but not for showing the output. It will do its job silently. But if you want that after stopping the service, it should produce the output objects, there is a parameter called pass through, and this is very important parameter Lot of people might get confused lot of times why their command line is not working. Because they don't use pass through, the objects will not flow further if you are not using pass through. I will show you that example as well, but before that let us see what will happen when you use pass through. Ideally it is not going to show you the output, but here with pass through it will show you the updated output immediately after starting or stopping. When you use pass through, it will produce the output object and it will allow the output objects to flow further in the pipeline. And since we are not using any other commandlet after stop service, the objects are trying to flow in the pipeline, and since they are meeting the dead end of the pipeline, they are getting converted to the output on screen and you can see the output. Similarly, when I use this start service with pass through, it will start and show the output. Now the question is, when you have the pipeline, why don't you use the pipeline for restarting the service in one command line? How to do that? Suppose these services are currently in running status. I want to restart these services. So what I can do is, what is the first step for restarting? You have to first stop the service. Stop -service. Now remember, unless you allow it to pass through, it will not reach to the next command in the pipeline. After stopping will happen first. What is the next step that will happen? Start service. Now here pass through is optional. It's not mandatory because we are not planning to use any other command after start service. But if you want to see the updated status, then only you should use pass through. Now it will first stop the service. After stopping the service, it will throw the output to the next command. This next command will take the input which is produced by, or which is the part of the output of the previous command. Then it will start the services and let the objects flow further in the pipeline. That way it will first stop, then start, then it will show the updated status, and it is again going to be running because, and you might have seen it is delayed by a few milliseconds. It is not as quick as get service because it is first stopping it, then starting it, then it is showing the output. Any questions? No. Okay, why this is not happening, what you are saying, why it is not happening, you need to understand. The stop service commandlet, though it is allowing the output to flow in the pipeline using pass through, the output is not displayed on screen because it is consumed by this command as input. This command is eating that output. Then only this command is getting input, right? You understand? That's why it is not showing the output. The middle command will not show the output because the output of this middle command will be consumed by this command. Otherwise this command will throw error. There is no input. What should I stop? No. Let me show you what happens when you don't give pass through. Pass through is allowing the output of this command to be given to the next command. If you don't allow the output of this command to flow in the pipeline and reach the next command, let us see what happens. You did not get any output because this command did not receive any input. This command has stopped the services, and this command did not receive the input object for starting the services, and those services has remained in stop state. You can check the status. Services did not restart, it has just stopped it. After stopping, the objects did not flow further in the pipeline, and this command did not get a chance to start the services. No, not okay. I understood your question. Let me explain. Pipeline will only pipe the output if the command is producing any output. You remember when we have ran this command stop service. See, when we run this start service command, is it producing any output? No. Then when the command is not producing any output, what pipeline will flow further? What objects pipeline will pass further to the next command when there is no output, and the output is getting produced only when you use stop service or start service with pass through. Then only the objects are created to flow in the pipeline. Otherwise it is happening internally without showing the user, without producing the output objects in the pipeline. It will internally stop the service and exit. It will not do anything further. But here when you say pass through, these objects which are produced, you are allowing those objects to become visible in the pipeline, and you are allowing it to flow further in the pipeline. Otherwise nothing will be there in the pipeline. So pipeline cannot handle if the objects are not visible in the pipeline. Pipeline cannot forcefully extract those objects from the command. If command is not willing to produce the object, it is trying to do that silently, what pipeline can do? Did I answer your question? Yeah. Or you are still confused? Okay, let me show you two scenarios. First is get service stop hyphen service. Are there any objects visible in the pipeline? No. Get service pass through. Are there any objects visible in the pipeline? Yes. The objects are produced in the pipeline to flow further only because we have used pass through. When you don't use pass through, nothing will be there. No output, no objects. Everything will be internally. Everything will remain internal. That's why when you use stop service pass through and then start service, then only start service can start those services. Now here pass through is optional because it is up to you after restarting the service whether you want to see the output or not. If you don't want to see the output, if you're not concerned about seeing the updated output, you can skip using pass through, because after start service we are not planning to use any other command. Only when you want to use some other command after start service, then you should use pass through. Let me show you. Now here if I use hyphen select object and I want to use only the name and status, two properties, I will not get anything because I am not allowing the objects to flow further in the pipeline at this point. But here if I use pass through, then only select object will get something from which it can select the name and status. Is it clear now? Okay. So this is called plan A. Now what are the characteristics of plan A that we will discuss? As per plan A, the output object of the first command, output object type of the first command should exactly match with the input object type required by the second command. So how to identify what is the output object type of this command? Get hyphen service. You can either pass the names or you can skip passing the name, because the result are going to be same with get member. Now look at the output object type, system.serviceProcess.service controller. What is the output object type produced by this command? It is system.serviceProcess.service controller. Now how to check what is the input object required by this command? Obviously the input object requirements cannot be checked by using getMember, because getMember will talk about what is the output object type. It will not show you what is the input object required. Then how to find out what is the input object type required by the stop service or start service command? You can use help start hyphen service and take a look at in the new window. Now here when you look at, there are two ways to identify what is the input object requirement. Either you can use at the inputs, or you can look at the syntax. In input it will show you what is the input object type required. System.serviceProcess.service controller. This is the input object required by start service command. And what is the output object of get service command? It is same, system.serviceProcess.service controller. Another way to find out what is the input object required, look at the syntax and look at the input object parameter. If it is same, like here also it is service controller, and input object required is also service controller. So this is called plan A, where the output of first command, the data type of the output of the first command exactly matches with the input object required by the second command, that is the next command in the pipeline. So this is producing service controller and this also requires service controller. So using input object, these two commands are exchanging objects. Means the objects produced by the first command are accepted by the input object parameter in the second command. This is called plan A. Any questions? This is very simple. Plan A is by data type. If two commands which are trying to connect in the pipeline, the output object type of the first command is same as what is the input object required by the second command, those two commands can connect in the pipeline successfully based on their object type. That's why, let me show you another example now. When you use get hyphen process, now pipe it to get member and look at the type. What is the object output object type? It is system.diagnostics.process, right? Now if I look at the help for stop service, sorry, stop process in a new window, Now look at this. What is the input object required? System.diagnostics.process, and the output object is system.diagnostics.process. Both are of same data type. That's why these two commands can successfully connect in the pipeline. You can also take a look at the input object. Input object required by stop process is a process object, and get process is also producing a process object. So everyone, are we all on the same page, or did I leave anyone behind? Yeah. Yes. So in the previous example where we have used get service and stop service, what is the output object type of get service? It was a service controller. And when we looked at the help for stop service, what is the input object requirement for stop service or start service? That was also a service controller object which was required. That's why these two commands, get service and stop service or start service, they were able to successfully connect in the pipeline based on their data type. Now when we are looking at get process, what is the output object type of get process? It is a process object. What is the input object required by the stop process? Get process is producing a process object. Stop process also requires an input as process object. That's why these two commands are able to connect successfully in the pipeline, right? This is called plan A. Any questions about plan A? Are we all clear? Can we move to the next plan? Plan A is very simple, guys. Plan A and B are very simple, to be honest. Plan C is a bit complicated because there are multiple rules involved with plan C. Plan A and B are very straightforward because the output, you just need to look at two things. What is the output data type of the command which is on the left hand side, and what is the input object required by the command which we are going to put on the right hand side in the pipeline. So get process can pass the output to stop process because stop process requires the input object as process, and get process also produces the output object of type process. Simple. Now plan B. What does plan B say? Generic object type. So earlier when we have discussed about the objects, let me go back to this image which we have produced when we were discussing about the objects. Okay, as I said, all different objects in PowerShell, we have seen service controller object, process object, WMI object. These are all different object types. These are the children of PS object. PS object is the parent object type. This is the parent object type. These are the child objects. So that's why there are certain commands like when you run get hyphen service a star. Now if I want to sort it based on the status, I can use sort object hyphen property name as status. So it is able to sort it. Look at the column 1. it is successfully able to sort it. Now when I use get hyphen process a star, all the processes where name begins with A. Now if I want to sort it, sort object based on the property CPU. Is it able to sort? Yes, it is able to sort it in ascending order. Now think about it. This sort object commandlet, no matter what type of object it is coming from the previous command, it is still able to process it. That means this commandlet is not bind to any particular object type. It can take input from get service, it can take input from get process, it can take input from any other commandlet. Similarly, there are commands like select object, property name, display name. This command is able to take the input from get service commandlet and show us the selected properties that we want. Similarly, when you use this with get process, select object hyphen property name and ID, or we can include one more, CPU. It is able to take the input from process object also and from service controller object also. Then what is special about these commands which are capable of taking input from any command? No matter which command you keep on the left hand side, these commands are still able to handle the input, because these commands are following plan B, and according to plan B, these commands, if you look at the help for this command, help select object, similarly where object also, which we use for filtering. What is the input object requirement for these commands? If you look at the input system.automation.ps object, or when you look at the input object property here, it is PS object. And what is PS object? It is the parent of all different object types. That's why any commandlet which is ending with hyphen object is successfully able to process the input objects, because it is capable of handling the parent object type. It is able to handle anything that comes under PS object. Service controller comes under PS object, process comes under PS object, WMI object comes under PS object. Any other commandlet's result will be a children or a child of PS object. PS object is the parent of all different object types. So that is how plan B works. Where object, when you look at the help for where object, you will find the input object requirement is PS object. So any commandlet that ends with hyphen object, where object, select object, sort object, compare object, measure object, all these commands are capable of handling PS object as input. So everyone understood plan B, which is called generic object or PS object. So first PowerShell will try to connect the output of the first command or pass the output of the first command to the second command by looking at their data type. If data type does not match, it will try to connect them using PS object. It will check if the second command requires the input object as PS object. If that is also not there, then it will move to the third option, that is plan C, by property name. Now this is something which we are going to follow when we are when we will be developing our own script. Now, understanding plan C, the reason for the complexity is there are multiple rules involved, and you need to note down and understand those rules clearly. I will put those rules in a notepad. First rule for plan C to be successful, the output properties of the first command should match with the input parameters not output properties, output property name. With the parameter name. What does that mean? Let me explain. So what does the first rule say? The output property name of the first command should match with the input parameter name. Either one property name or multiple property names, or should match with one input parameter name or multiple input parameter names. What does that mean? Let's go back here. Now, for explaining plan C, let me show you an example. What will happen if I use get-process and pipe it to stop-service? Now tell me guys, what will happen if I do this? Hey Kiran, you're there? Yes, it will produce a bunch of errors, but surprisingly, now here what if comes into picture. Without actually seeing what happens if I do this, because this will do something drastic which might have uh, the effects which will make your operating system unstable, right? So without seeing those bad effects, we can use what if to see what happens if I run this command. Now look at this. I have seen lot of errors, but there are few successful hits, some white lines. Now surprisingly, there are at least few instances where this command is successful. Now the question is, the output data type of get service does not match with the input object requirement for stop service, because stop service requires a service controller object. And what is the object type produced by get process? It produces process object. That means plan A is not at all coming into picture. Then what is plan B? Plan B requires the command on the right hand side, or the command which is receiving the output as input, should be capable of handling PS objects as input. So does stop service require a PS object as input? No, it requires a service controller. That means plan B is also not applicable here. Here plan C is coming into picture. And what is plan C? Plan C says by property name. Now let's understand why these are successful and why these are failed. If it has to fail, everything should fail, right? Obviously. If it is successful, why others are failing? That is because there is a requirement for plan C which says if the output object's property name matches with the input parameter name of the command which is taking the input, or the command which is there on the right hand side. Now in this case, which is the command which is on the right hand side? If you want to suppress the errors and just see the output, you can use hyphen error action as silently continue. So why these three services it is able to stop successfully, that we will try to understand. Now what is this service? mbam service. Now if you check get hyphen process, there is a process called mbam service. Right, there is a process with this name, and when you check get hyphen service mbam service, there is also a service with this name. So what is happening here is this process name is actually an alias name for the name parameter. There is, sorry, the name property. If you look at the output object type or the members of get process hyphen get member type properties. So if you look at the properties, there is a property called name, right? And for stopping the service, when you are trying to stop the service, when you look at the help, now let's look at the help of stop service. So according to plan C, first rule is there should be a property which exactly matches with the name of the parameter in the second command. So here on the right hand side there is a command called stop service. On the left hand side the command is get process. So this command get process has multiple properties, out of which there is a property called name. Now this name, property name, exactly matches with the parameter name. This is also name, this is also name, both are name. That is the first rule, what I have written here. The output property name of the first command should match with the input parameter name. Match exactly. This is the first rule. The first rule is successful. Name is the property name of the get process commandlet, and name is also the parameter name of the stop service commandlet. So the output of this parameter, output of this property will be given as input to this parameter. Okay. Now second rule, this is not sufficient. It's not that if there is a property with this same name as a parameter, the output of this property will be given as input to this parameter. That is not true. That is only the first rule. What is the second rule? Second rule, for that we need to look at the parameters. Second rule is this parameter should accept the pipeline input. Does this accept the pipeline input? Yes. The name parameter can accept pipeline input. That's why the values from the name property can be passed to the name parameter. And we are not doing that. PowerShell will automatically read the values from the name property and give it as input to the name parameter. Along with that, the data type, this requires string, and this should also give a string output. So when you look at the name property of the get process, the name of the process is what? It is string, right? That's why it is able to accept that string input. So assume that if this requires a number and you are passing a string, it will not work. PowerShell will not try to connect these two commands based on their data type, because all the rules are not matching here. All the rules are not followed. All conditions are not met. So second is the parameter should accept input from pipeline either by property name or by value. Now what is by property name and by value? We will discuss. This we will discuss when we will develop our own scripts. As of now, just remember that the parameter which is matching with the property name should accept the pipeline input. That should be set to true. And the third rule is the data type should be same. The data required by the parameter should be same as the data available under property name. Now under the name property, what type of data is there? Name will give the string, and the parameter name also requires a string. That means all three rules are met. Now why these errors? These errors are there because there is no service with this name WMI, PR, VSC, whatever. There is no service with this name WinWord. There is no service with this name WUDF host. But there are services with this name like MBAM service is there, SGRM broker is there, and the process name is also same. That's why PowerShell has tried to stop a service where the name is MBAM, because it has found the value of MBAM service under a property called name. That is how plan C works in PowerShell. And when we will develop our own services, when we will develop our own commandlets, that time we will be implementing plan C. And even if you don't understand it completely here, at least understand the rules, basic rules, that the property name should be same as the parameter name. That is first rule. Parameter should accept the pipeline input, and third is data type. Data type requirement should be met. Only then plan C will be successful. Now let me show you an example where the command does not accept pipeline input. Now suppose let's take a look at this command, get WMI object -class pin32 underscore BIOS. Then win32 underscore what operating system. And third is computer system. Now every time I am passing these three different class names. What if I want to pass these class names from a text file? So let's open this input.txt, and in this I will use the class names. First class I want is computer system, second class I want is operating system, okay, and third class that I want is BIOS. Let me save this file. So how to pass the content of this text file to this command? You can use get-content input.txt. It is producing these three names. So if you want to pass it to get-wmy-object, hit enter. It is still asking me for the class name. Why? Because the class parameter does not accept pipeline input. You can verify that using help get-wmy-object and show window. Now look at the class parameter here. Does this accept pipeline input? It is set to false. That's why it is of no use passing the output of your get content to get-wmy-object. It is still going to ask you for the class name. It will not take the class names from the input that you have provided. Now let me show you another example. Let's put, instead of the class names, let's put service names here, WinRM and bits. Now when I get content of this command, this file, I am getting two names. I can simply pass it to get-service. So automatically the contents of this file will be passed to the name parameter. I am not specifying here which parameter should take the input. It is still able to give me the output, because the name parameter, when we are looked at the help, it is accepting the pipeline input. That is the only parameter. Name parameter is accepting the pipeline input by value and by property name. That means only when these three rules are met, the output of a command can be given as input to the next command in the pipeline. Any questions, team? Okay, let me open input.csv. Get content input.csv. It has a computer name, right? Now here, when I import this CSV, import CSV input.csv, automatically this first row will become the column or a property, and this will become the property values. Now what is the next thing is extracting value from a single property. what is the meaning of extracting value from a single property? So when you are reading some output from a command and you want to select the values from one single property, you can use that property name by putting that complete command in the parenthesis and give the property name, that is computer name. It will just show you the values which are available under that particular property. Now look at the previous, get hyphen service winrm comma bits. Now what if I just want to see the display name? What I can do is put this entire command inside round brackets and use dot display name. It will just show me the display name. If I use name, it will just show me the name. If I use status, it will just show me the status. It will not show me the complete output, it will just show me what I have selected from one single property. This is called extracting value from a single property. And remember, this is not supported in PowerShell version 2. This is available only in PowerShell version 3 onwards. Now there is something called as parenthetical commands. So let me go back to the example which we have seen earlier. Get hyphen service name winrm comma bits stop hyphen service hyphen pass through, then pipe it to start hyphen service hyphen pass through. Now what we are doing here is the output of this command is going as input to the next command. Again, the output of this command will go as input to the next command, and this will continue till you use the pipeline. What if I want to achieve the same results without using a pipeline? I want to restart these services without using a pipeline. So in that case, parenthetical commands will come into picture. Now again, I will add one more command here. So okay, I think this example is enough. The output of this command is taken as input by this command. The output of this command, because of the pass through, will again taken as input by this command. So the flow in the pipeline will always be from left to right. But there is something called as parenthetical commands. Without using the pipe symbol, you can achieve the same results by using parenthetical commands. So in parenthetical commands, the last command that you are running in the pipeline will become the first command. How to do that? Let's see. Now here, for starting a service, you need to know which service to be started. So what was the second command? That will be the second command again, but last command will become first, first will become third. So the second command that we are going to run, here we need the name of the services, which services need to be started. So how to pass the name? You can use second command, stop hyphen service. Again, for stopping the service, you need the name of the service. and for getting the name we will use the last command, get service. And for get service we will pass the names manually, Vinaram comma bits. Now this command get service will produce this output we have seen earlier, and from that when you use the name get service Vinaram and bits dot name, it will give you these two values, right? So to get the values for the name parameter here, we will get it from dot name property of this command. So after you run this stop service, unless you use hyphen pass through, it will not produce any object. So when you are running this command, it will again produce some object. When you use pass through, that object will have a property called name. The name property values from this command will be given as input to the name property values, name parameter for start service command. So you can put this pass through in the end. You can put it in the beginning also, but just to make it more clear. So let me explain what happens here. Without using the pipe symbol, we are running three commands here, and the command which is in the innermost parenthesis will get executed first. Which is the innermost parenthesis? Get service. So get service commandlet will get executed first. It will produce two service controller objects. Their name property will be extracted using this highlighted syntax. The value of the name properties will be given as the input to the name property of stop service commandlet. So stop service will work on the input from the innermost command. Then it will again stop the services. Because we are using pass through, it will again produce the output object which will have the name parameter, name property. The values of the name property will be given to the name parameter for the start service command, and again this outermost command will get executed with that input, and it will produce the same results as we have done earlier. So this is called parenthetical commands. Now the question is, when you can use pipeline, why use parenthetical commands, which looks very complex, right? So there are certain situations. We will see one example when we will discuss about the background jobs in PowerShell or schedule jobs. So there are some places or some situations where you have to run some command and the result of that command should be given as input to some parameter. That time you have to make use of parenthetical commands. So for giving the input to a parameter, you will run the command on the fly and the result of that command will be given as the input to the parameter. So there are certain situations where pipeline cannot help you to do that, because pipeline, the flow is from left to right. Here the flow is from inside outside. The innermost command will get executed first, then the second, and the outermost command will get executed in the last, at the end. So I recommend everyone to go through this video. I will keep today's session only limited for this topic, because I understand this is a very heavy topic and very important topic for you all to understand. So I recommend everyone to go through this video once again and get back to me if you have any questions. So as part of this, we have seen what is the importance of confirm and what if parameters, how data flows in the pipeline using plan A, B and C, what are parenthetical commands, and what is the meaning of extracting value from a single property. Let me stop the recording.